Hey everyone, ciao. So today, ciao da Napoli. Hello from the beautiful city of Naples, Italy, where we have Mount Vesuvius back here. And today I want to do a quick video on something I wish I'd learned when I first started learning Italian, and that's how vowels work in Italian. So whether or not you're starting your journey on learning the Italian language, or you have a trip coming up to Italy and you want to say a few words in Italian, just know one important thing. This is the thing I wish I'd known the most is how vowels work. So R, A, E, I, O, and U. In Italian, they're pronounced differently. So in Italian, it's A, E, I, O, U. So R, A is pronounced A in Italian. R, E is E in Italian. R, I is E in Italian. And then O is, or our O is more of an O, and then U is U. So there's a few words that we are, or there are a few words that we already know in English that we use regularly in English that will help with your pronunciation. So it's starting to rain a little bit here in Naples, so I'm going to go back inside my hotel room and we'll continue this video with some of the words we already know, such as risotto. All right, so we know that the vowels are pronounced differently, right? So let's go over some words that we already know that we use commonly in English, right? So we know tiramisu, gelato, pizza, risotto, spaghetti, lasagna, and gnocchi. So each of those have good examples on how to use vowels in Italian. And I remember my first time in Italy. So the word for thank you is grazie, but it's spelled Grazie. And I just pronounce it grazie. And I hear people all the time just saying grazie. When I was in Venice a few years ago, I had dinner with this family, and the waiter came over and maybe gave me water or something like that. And I said grazie, and they were like grazie. Is that a more formal way of saying grazie? And I'm like, no, it's actually pronounced grazie, because the word ends with an I and an E, and E is the I is pronounced E, and then the E is pronounced A, which is a bit confusing. But yeah, let's go with like tiramisu, right? So tiramisu means pick me up or pull me up. So that's where the dessert got its name. And tirare is the verb there. So tirare is pull. So if you're in Italy and you see tirare on a door or spegnere, so tirare means pull, and then spegnere means push. So tiramisu, so there's an I there, so that's E, pronounced E. There's an A, which is A, and then there's another I, which is E, and then there's a U, which is pronounced U. So tiramisu. Cool. See, you could already speak Italian. Gelato, right? So we say gelato, but it's gelato. So pretty close. The E is pronounced E, and then the A, the English A, is pronounced A, and then the O is more of an open O. O. So gelato. Pizza, we all know pizza, right? It's probably one of the most famous foods in the world. Um, so P-I, so pizza, pizza. And there's a double Z in there, right? So whenever you encounter a double letter in Italian, you kind of pause and then you, in a way, repeat that letter. So pizza, cassa. Cassa is the cash register. So C-A-S-S-A, cassa. Um, Spaghetti, right? We say spaghetti, we kind of blur it all together, but it's spaghetti, right? So you give it that T a bit of an extra, or the double T extra weight. And then there's risotto. So Risotto, right? So risotto, E in Italian. And then there's an O and there's another O. So otto, which happens to also mean 8 in Italian. And then there's lasagna. So lasagna is interesting because it has one of these sounds in Italian that can be a bit of a challenge, and it's the ñ sound. So there's ñ and there's li, which is GLI. And those are kind of two, maybe a bit challenging or unusual sounds for us. But the ñ sound, we're used to saying that in Italian or in English with lasagna. So L-A, la, a, za, zan, nya, lasagna. So again, the A is pronounced A. So that ñ sound, lasagna, is also used in the word gnocchi. And for the longest time, before I started learning Italian, I had trouble with that word. Sometimes I was like gnocchi, gnocchi. I didn't know how to pronounce it, but take the same ñ sound from lasagna and put that on the front of the word, and then o. Remember, it's an open o. So gnocchi. And chi in Italian is pronounced chi. So yeah, so that was a quick overview of how vowels work in Italian. Learn those lessons and you'll be probably 80-90% of the way there. Italian can be challenging with verbs and things like that, but the nice thing is that if you see a word, you can pretty much sound it out. So if you, and the vowels tend to be the most challenging part of things, the vocali. So yeah, do that. And I'll probably continue this as a series of videos on introductory Italian and maybe some words to learn for your first trip to Italy or as you're starting your journey learning Italian. So anyways, let me know in the comment section if you have any questions or feedback. But until next time, ciao.